All right, so we're going to draw our divergent boundary next. A divergent boundary is where the plates are actually moving apart or dividing apart from each other and where new crust is being made. And usually this occurs in the ocean. You'll find a lot of these plate boundaries at the ocean. So grab a blue color and let's begin. So the plates are actually moving away from each other. So this is going to be the crust that we're doing, where the ocean is on top. Next, let's go ahead and add the solid mantle underneath. So this is the rigid part of the mantle, meaning not flexible. Next, go ahead and get your red. We're going to add the molten magma. So where it's getting a little hot down there and the rock is starting to melt. So not quite solid and not quite liquid. And the parts of the rock that do melt into magma kind of collect in certain areas or pockets in the crust area. And so it kind of creates this magma chamber. And it's going to go up into the pockets in the crust. And this is how new crust is formed. So let's go ahead and add that on the top. New crust. Next, we need to drive the plates apart using convection currents. So now the arrows should be moving away from each other. Okay, so we're going to draw the currents moving away. Oops, let me get my red. So it's heating up. The rock's heating up. It goes up. And again, they're moving away from each other. And then once it gets superheated, it's going to fall back down. And the cycle repeats. Falls back down. And the cycle repeats on both sides of the plate. So these are your convection currents that move the plates apart. So let's go ahead and label convection currents. Last, we need to label the layers of the earth. So I'm going to go back to my brown. This part right here with the crust and the solid part of the mantle, that's going to be your lithosphere. Next, I'm going to grab my red. That's going to be your asthenosphere. Where you have your molten magma and the convection currents making the plates move. We already have our crust labeled, so I'm going to get my black marker out now. We're going to label the mantle. So once again, the mantle is going to be the solid part of the mantle and include the asthenosphere till you get to the upper core. So there's the sides again, in case you weren't sure. And this is your divergent boundary. Our last boundary we're going to talk about is